Nobody owes you shit. Nobody owes you shit. No one's coming to save you, and no one owes you anything. My name is Jimmy. I am enjoying the best day of my life. Hopefully you are too. So today's lesson, very dear to my heart. One of the things I promised myself for the first few videos is that they would be completely unscripted. So there is no script. I'm not reading off a teleprompter. I didn't write anything down. These are all life lessons that I have learned throughout my last, I'm almost going to be 50. So I've been a dad since I was 17. I grew up in Compton, as you guys know, if you guys follow some of my other stuff, and was raised by my mom. My dad was around. But the reality is all of these lessons that I'm talking about are lessons that are very dear to me because these are things that I personally have gone through. And I'm hoping that by sharing some of these things and you going through maybe some of the similar type things, or maybe I say something that might help you in your journey, that hopefully I am putting some positive back into the world. So the lesson for today and things that I want to talk about is the fact that I came across a lesson for myself that really changed my perspective in my career. And that was the fact that really the universe and the world and whatever energy you want to talk about didn't owe me a damn thing. Nobody owed me anything. Nobody was going to come to save me. And then if I wanted to be saved, I needed to do everything in my power within my own universe to save myself. So I'll start with a story, right? So I'm an analogy type of guy, and I like to talk about things that literally happened to me specifically. I'll start with my very early story here. So I'm 16 years old. I'm going to high school. I was always a decent student, pretty much A's and B's. The issue was never that I was stupid or didn't necessarily like school. If anything, I was like most 16-year-olds. I thought I knew more than I actually knew, but as it pertains to school, I was a relatively good student. So long story short, just as I turned 17, I was in a new area. I moved from Compton to Rialto, which is in the Inland Empire. I met this girl, and lo and behold, obviously, through no fault of anybody, she got pregnant. So as you guys know, I became a dad at 17 years old with my son. And then I had my daughter when I was 18. But here's the reality, right? So when she got pregnant and that whole thing happened, there was a slew of things that happened right along the same time, right? So obviously she had to tell her parents that she was pregnant. Great. What happened there? Well, that triggered for her to get kicked out of her house, right? Her dad obviously was furious, as he should have been. And she got kicked out of her home. So, I needed to take her into my house. And then all of a sudden I needed to tell my mom that my girlfriend got pregnant. And obviously, what hit the fan. My mom was extremely disappointed. My dad at that time, again, was never really too involved monetarily to some degree, but, he didn't live with us or anything like that. So I really didn't have a really good understanding of what it was like to be a dad and a father, unfortunately, right? And I have a great relationship with my dad now. He actually lives in my home now. And that's something that I'll get into later because I had some demons in the closet that I had to take care of there. But anyways, so here's the reality. For a very short period of time, my thought process was, why did this happen to me? Why me? Why now? And all of the other things that came out of my mouth. Here's the reality. 1 month, 2 months, 3 months, 4 months go by. I still have this exact same attitude, and nothing changed for me. I was still in the same place, doing the same things, having the same problems, with absolutely zero plan on how I was going to support a child at 17, being that I was still in high school. That's a fact, right? So, great. What ended up happening, and what was the shift in mindset? So the shift in mindset was, I ended up talking, or somebody ended up coming to talk to me, and it was actually a dad of one of my friends. And I'm gonna be honest, at that time, I thought what he was telling me was harsh. But to be honest with you, it's really the best thing he ever told me. I needed to hear what he told me. And here's what he told me. He told me exactly what I am telling you now. He says, Jimmy, nobody owes you shit. Nobody owes you shit. No one's coming to save you, and no one owes you anything. So the reality is that you got the girl pregnant. You went ahead and had sex without protection, right? You did the things that you weren't supposed to do. And because of those things, you are here. So the question really is, what are you going to do today, tomorrow, and every day to put yourself in a better situation? Because it sounds like to me like you are playing a victim and you're literally waiting for someone to do something for you, but no one else got the girl pregnant. You got the girl pregnant. No one helped you get her pregnant. And it hit me like a ton of bricks because he was 100% correct. It was a tough pill to swallow, to be honest. At 17 years old, that was tough for me to hear. Because again, at 17, right, we know everything, right? But he was 100% correct. So great. What did I end up doing? First thing, I needed to decide at that moment in time, what was the most important thing for me to do, right? And again, I'm a junior in high school. And I'm not saying you have to agree with me, and I'm not saying it was the right choice. What I am telling you is this is what I did, and obviously over the years, this has worked out for me. I needed to decide what was the most important thing. I needed to start taking action, right? I couldn't just talk about it. I needed to literally put everything down on paper and start to take action. So here's the first thing that I did. Again, agree to disagree. This is the first thing that I did. I decided that I needed to find a way to be able to support my son. I decided that I did it to myself. So I wasn't going to let my dad or my mom or her mom support my kid. So I decided I'm going to drop out of high school. So I went ahead and left high school before even mid through the school year, my junior year. So I didn't finish my junior year in high school. I actually left, with 5 months to go in my junior year. So I decided to leave high school, and I decided to, at that time, you can get different certifications. So I decided to get a forklift certification to learn how to drive a forklift because I knew forklift drivers at the time made a little more money. At the time, I was working multiple jobs. I was washing dishes at this Italian restaurant. I worked for Arby's, so they were all dead end, crappy jobs. So I decided to go to this certification class. I paid like, I don't know, $80, $90, whatever it is. And I decided to get certified and get a forklift license. Once I did that, I started to apply at every warehouse anywhere near my house on a night shift where I could still try to do some, kind of from home type of schooling and then also be able to work at a better job. I ended up landing a job working graveyard shift from 2 a.m. to 12. So I would work that time shift. And then from 1 o'clock to 4 o'clock, I would go to like a continuation school kind of type thing. So I went ahead and went back to continuation school. So I made really good money at that time for what I was making at the other place. And that is how I managed to start to save up some money from the moment I was like mid 17s till before I turned 18 and before my son was born. By the time my son came, ironically speaking, I actually saved up enough money to actually move out. So I ended up moving out my girlfriend into an apartment in Rancho Cucamonga, which was a very good and still is a decent area where I was at. And by the time my son was born, we actually had our own place, right? So, and what allowed me to do that was unfortunately start to make some tough decisions, right? It's decisions that I didn't want to make, but I needed to make them, right? I tell this story to my son now, and my son now is 30, and he's a wonderful human being, married, has a grandson. I have a wonderful, amazing grandson. And I tell this to my son all the time, right? Like, he saved me. And what I mean by that is I walked into the hospital a boy, and I walked out a man, right? Because the minute I walked out and I held him for the first time, and I knew that I was responsible for another living thing, that wasn't a dog or a cat or a pet, right? Like, this was another human being that literally for the next 18 years was going to look for me to me for guidance, for a roof over his head. If he didn't eat, it was going to be my fault. If he wasn't cared for, it was going to be my fault. If he didn't have a place to live, it was going to be my fault. Like, all of that was my fault, right? And if I wasn't able to provide all that and do all of that for him, right? All of that had nothing to do with anybody else other than me. The minute I understood that, it really became a superpower to me, right? And I'll tell you kind of what I've done and kind of the mind shift I've had over the years, right? So to finish off the kid story, she had the baby. I walked in, walked out a man. The minute I walked out, I literally dropped pretty much every friend that I had. They were all busy partying, drinking alcohol. They were all still in high school, obviously. Some of them were excited that they got their first car, all the normal kid stuff. Guess what? My son didn't need that from me. My son needed me to grow up and start being a man. So anyways, I went from driving a forklift to I ended up getting a second job. I stopped going to continuation school. Again, agree to disagree. That's what I felt I needed to do. I started working multiple jobs, and then that got me into the dealer space washing cars. And then I turned 18, and then I started selling cars, and then the rest is history. And again, I'll talk about kind of my automotive background. I started making tons of cash, and then the rest is history. And that led me to, my multiple $1 million companies that I've established over the last 20 years. So anyways, with that being said, back to you have to take massive action. And your superpower, as scary as it is for you to say, what do you mean I'm responsible for everything? What do you mean I have to take ownership for everything? What do you mean no one is coming to save me? It's so much easier when someone comes to save me. Your superpower is the fact that you are going to take undeniable ownership over everything that happens in your life. Yes, even the things that you think are not on you, even the things that you think are not your fault, even the things that you think you don't have control over, you are going to take unbelievable ownership over everything that happens in your world. And as scary as that is, I gotta be honest with you, it is the most enlightening, refreshing change in my life that I have ever made. And I'm gonna tell you why. The minute you take that approach, and the minute you really feel to your core that you are responsible and you take ownership for everything, is the minute that you completely understand that you are in full control of what it is gonna happen when something happens to you. No one is going to ever have the power over you for you to maneuver, shift, pivot, and decide. You're not happy in the marriage. You're not happy with your job. You're not happy with your boss. You're not happy with the friend group you're hanging around with. You're not happy with your career, and so forth and so on. The minute that you completely understand that you are responsible for everything is the minute you are going to set yourself free. Because all of a sudden, it's never going to be, ever going to be about the fact that you're stuck. You're never gonna be stuck. You are stuck if you're a victim. You are stuck if you have no control. You are stuck if you don't have the ability to take action and move and pivot. You are not stuck if you take ownership. You are not stuck if you can shift and pivot. You are not stuck if you can decide at any day that you are not happy with where you are with any of those things that I mentioned or anything in your life, and you can do something about it starting right now. I decided that I was going to do something about it starting that day. And I have never looked back. I haven't been the perfect father. I haven't always been the perfect husband. I haven't always been the perfect friend. I don't claim to be perfect. I've made a crap ton of mistakes, and I'm going to share all of them with you, right? And some of them are going to be terrible, right? But here's the reality. The reality is that my life has made a dramatic change the minute I started to understand that I had a superpower. And the superpower was I have the ability to never be a victim. I have the ability to make a change in my life or anything else that's happening around me because I don't put that on anybody else. I take extreme ownership, which, by the way, great book. We'll talk about that one later. But I take extreme ownership for everything that happens in my life. That allows me the superpower for me to never sit still, to always take action, and for me to constantly work towards situations that I need to get out of that are going to benefit me more than the negative mindset that people have that they are currently stuck. I am never stuck. No one is forcing me to be stuck. I will never be stuck in a job that I don't like or running a company that I don't like or dealing with someone that I don't like. I am never stuck in those situations because I am in full control and I'm going to shift and pivot as many times as I need to in order for me to get myself out of where I need to be. So great. What are the lessons I learned? Number one, take ownership. It's a hard pill to swallow. You're not going to like it, and it's going to feel very uncomfortable in the beginning, 100%. It is going to make you feel like you are literally choking and you need more air, because all of a sudden you don't have anybody but to blame other than yourself. So number one, take extreme ownership, take full ownership of everything that happens. That's number one. Number two, okay, analyze and digest. Great. What is it that I'm not happy about? Analyze what that is and digest it fully. Great. Number three, come up with a plan of action. What are you going to do, or what are the things that you need to do in order to get yourself out of those situations? Okay, write it down, have a very clear indication and a very clear line of sight of what exactly those actions are going to be. And then number four, take massive, and I mean massive action to work on all of those things that you just said you need to do in order to get yourself out of that I feel stuck feeling. Without action, they're just words. And if they're just words, guess what? You're going to be in the same place today that you were in yesterday, and you're never going to get any movement. And that, my friends, is what is going to make you feel stuck. So that is the words of the day. That is what I've learned. Hopefully some of it has resonated with you. Hopefully some of it is something that you needed to hear. And again, if I sound like a broken record, I probably am. But here's the reality is these are things that help me out. And these are the things that I personally have gone through. And hopefully some of these things are helping you out. With that being said, I appreciate you. And again, just like I started with, hopefully today is the best day of your life, because I know it is mine. With that being said, peace and love.